Bueno, estamos aquí con Juan Alvarez Turner
Uh-huh.
En la Universidad de Akron
Uh-huh.
y estamos aquí para hablar acerca de la vida en Ohio como un latino, ¿no? Gracias
Sí.
por concedernos esta entrevista.
Gracias.
Entonces quería preguntarle primero, ¿dónde nació y creció usted?
Yo nací en Atorrey, Puerto Rico.
Uh-huh.
Fui a la escuela allá en Puerto Rico y después nosotros nos mudamos a los Estados Unidos.
Uh-huh.
El primer sitio fue Arizona.
Uh-huh.
Y eso fue bien difícil para mí, porque fui de isla tropical a desierto. Sí, desierto. Después nosotros nos mudamos para muchos sitios aquí en los Estados Unidos.
Uh-huh.
Y mi papá se retiró en Florida, Orlando, Florida.
Uh-huh. Entonces, ¿hace cuánto tiempo que usted vive aquí?
Casi 8 años.
8 años,
Sí.
ok. Pues teniendo estas experiencias de vivir en Puerto Rico y en otros lugares de Estados Unidos, ¿cómo puede describir su niñez usted en Puerto Rico y en otros lugares?
En Puerto Rico fue difícil porque yo sabía mucho idioma. Uh-huh. Y el problema era que yo quería más. Uh-huh. En la escuela. Uh-huh. y no me podían dar más. Y uh-huh. Después mi madre dijo, tú sabes, lo mejor es mudarnos para los Estados Unidos porque ahí vamos a tener la oportunidad de hacer lo que tenemos que hacer. Uh-huh. Y para que los niños crezcan como nosotros queremos. Uh-huh. Así que era difícil en Puerto Rico, pero no supe lo más difícil que era vivir aquí en los Estados Unidos.
Claro.
Por algunos años yo quería regresar, pero tú sabes, me acostumbré.
¿A qué edad vino usted aquí a Estados Unidos?
7 años.
7 años,
Sí.
o sea, desde pequeño.
Sí.
Okay, sí, fue un gran cambio, me
Sí.
imagino.
Uh-huh.
Pensando en estos años de su niñez, ¿qué canciones, historias o chistes siente usted que son parte de usted y su familia?
Pues voy a decir esto en inglés.
Okay.
The part of my life that I miss and that I loved when I was a kid, that is so different here in the United States, was Christmas.
Okay, yeah.
Christmas in Puerto Rico, there's no place on the planet that I would rather be than Christmas in Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
It is just over a month filled of just partying, people coming together, singing, dancing, great food, and it just seems here like everything starts. Everything's commercialized here is after Thanksgiving, and in Puerto Rico it's just not like that. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just that coming together, and then the song that always rings in my head, and I sing it, and I don't sing it too much here in Ohio because there's nobody to sing it with, but I always sing Alegre vengo de la montaña de mi cabaña, que alegre está, y a mis amigos le traigo flores de las mejores de mi rosal. That's a typical Christmas song. Mm-hmm. and it brings back the smells, the feeling that you get, that is just unique.
Claro. Entonces, pensando en estas como Navidad, ¿no? Que es una tradición muy especial, ¿usted ha tratado de mantener por lo menos una parte de eso aquí en Estados Unidos o en Ohio?
Pues, aquí en Ohio es muy diferente. En Florida sí pude hacer mucho de eso, pero en Ohio es bien difícil porque nosotros comemos cosas muy diferentes. Yo odio ese jamón que hacen aquí que con miel y nosotros en Puerto Rico comemos pernil y ellos no tienen eso aquí, y así es que yo soy homosexual, yo soy gay, y yo tengo una pareja de 14 años y la familia de él son bien alemán y ellos comen todo eso, y yo dije un día, oye, vamos a comer comida tradicional de Puerto Rico en estas Navidades. Y ellos dijeron, ok, ¿qué va a hacer? I go, surprise, okay? So I called my mama, and then I called my sister. I said, I need to know how to have the perfect recipe to do a pernil. Sure enough, they gave it to me. I did it. I followed it from everything I remember my grandma doing. Yo lo hice. I have never seen people devour a pernil, and I'm telling you, they ate the cuero, because we leave the cuero and everything. And I had to go out to a butcher out in the country in Portage County, and I was in shock because they actually gave it to me fresh. I said, you must have killed a pig back there, because it was fresh. And they just devoured it, and they loved it. Lo único que no le gustaron fue los pasteles, que eso es diferente de lo que se acostumbran los otros hispanos, que esto no es como un cake. Es como un tamal hecho por los taínos. And so they didn't like that, because it is an acquired taste.
Sí, porque sí es la masa.
La masa y todo eso. So but I love it, and that's all that counts. It reminds me of being back in Puerto Rico. Even reminds me of being back in Florida.
Claro, donde se pudo hacer eso, ¿no?
Sí.
Claro. Ohio es el primer estado donde usted vive que es frío, que tiene...
Yes.
Sí.
Yes.
¿Cuál fue esa experiencia? ¿En qué temporada llegó primeramente?
I came to Ohio. This is awful. I came to Ohio January the 1st. Okay, about 7, 8 years ago. Because I got hired for a company up here. It was so ungodly cold. Cuando me dio ese viento, era como si alguien me hizo así. And I was like, what the hell is this? Y después guiando, eso fue... Driving in the snow and in ice, it didn't compute to me. Yo puedo guiar en una tormenta de Florida, pero esto de tormenta de invierno, especialmente I didn't know what black ice was. And I was going down, because Summit County is like the highest point in Ohio. It has all the biggest hills and stuff like that. So my house we're going down a hill, and all of a sudden I was just sliding all the way down. I was screaming. I was like, oh my God, what is this? I stopped and I called my mom. I said, Mami, quiero regresar. No puedo con esto. But I got used to it.
¿Cuál fue su primera impresión de Ohio?
I fell in love with it. I fell in love with it. And me gusta la naturaleza, especialmente aquí en Akron. Aquí en Summit County tienen los towpaths, los hiking trails, the ski trails. It just is awesome. It's everything that I like. Me encanta vivir al lado del río por mi religión, porque mi religión es indígena de Cuba y Puerto Rico, que viene de Nigeria. Y tener un río al ladito de mi casa es perfecto, porque puedo hacer mis cosas religiosas. Y me encanta, es tan diferente, y no tengo que preocuparme de los cocodrilos, de
Florida,
de las serpientes, los mosquitos. No, esto es totalmente diferente. Sí, y aunque en Puerto Rico no hay serpientes, tú sabes, porque eso lo arregló el Cristóbal Colón trayendo, él trajo los mongoose. Y se comieron todas las culebras. No hay culebra en Puerto Rico. So I didn't have to worry about that down there in Puerto Rico, but in Florida it's awful. You never know if a little floating thing is really an alligator. So yeah, National Forest up north. There's little plants that you can use, indigenous plants within our religion, and that you think you can't find anywhere else, but in the tropical region. But there's the hybrids that are growing there, and so it's fun looking for the stuff that you need. La hierba para la religión de nosotros.
Las ceremonias,
sí.
¿no? Para las ceremonias. ¿Cuál ha sido el momento más feliz de su vida al llegar aquí en Ohio, por ejemplo? Sí.
I think the happiest time of my life, yo creo que fue cuando me aceptaron en esta universidad y me gradué con mi maestría. Eso fue el día, and it was the coldest day too, it was minus 20. Pero ese fue el día más feliz de mi vida, porque eso yo lo hice solo en un sitio que no conozco. Y las personas que me ayudaron para obtener ese degree fue increíble. Me encanta Akron, me encanta la universidad por eso, pero cuando tuve muchos problemas que no tenía ni electricidad ni nada de eso, las personas, una manager de McDonald's, ahí en Market Street, ella me vio, ella me dijo, tú no tienes electricidad. I go, no, quédate aquí, usa nuestro Wi-Fi para que tú hagas tu research. And I was able to stay there and work 3, 4, 5 hours just there, and I would go get something to eat and then I keep working. And when I graduated with my master's degree, I went over there. I said, I want to thank you. I got a 4.0 and I worked my butt off. Even without electricity for 12 days, I worked my butt off. Thank you so much. And so I can tell you that's something that wouldn't happen in Florida. They would have kicked me out. And here they saw that I was trying to better myself, and they said, stay here, we'll take care of you. And that's what I love about this place. You know, the people are real. They don't have facades. They are genuine people, and that's what I like. It's not like when I lived in Miami, you know, everybody has different faces there, and you don't know who you're talking to. You know, of course, there's not people that not everybody is good here, but for the most part, everybody that I've met has been pretty genuine here.
¿Cuál ha sido lo opuesto, ¿no? ¿Cuál ha sido de los momentos más difíciles de estar aquí? Aparte de no tener electricidad y del clima.
Sí, yo creo que fue el día que me dio un ataque de corazón aquí. Y eso fue 2 meses antes de graduarme con mi maestría. Me dio un ataque de corazón. Yo estaba haciendo una filantropía por la universidad aquí, Make a Difference Day, y estaba ayudando a arreglar una casa. Y me dio un ataque de corazón por lo que estaba haciendo. Lo que me enfonó fue que nadie en la universidad supo lo que estaba pasando o me llamó. Hasta los hispanos, porque yo estaba en el club de los hispanos, no me llamaron. Yo estaba bien solo y nada más que mi pareja me estaba ayudando, y hasta una profesora, yo estaba trabajando con ella, me llamó en el hospital gritándome porque tenía que trabajar. Y yo dije, oye, ataque al corazón. Y fue un tiempo muy difícil para mí, que ahí yo estaba pensando, debo de quedarme aquí, porque si me están tratando así, yo creo que I may have misperceived what they were saying, what they were thinking about me. I got a sour taste in my mouth, and that's when I decided, after I graduated, I'm going back to Florida. I went back to Florida, and I missed this place. I I missed this place. I missed everything about what I loved. The grass isn't greener on the other side. And so I went to Miami to teach. I'm glad I did that because I got a chance to teach Haitian students that are very, very poor. But when Lee Gill called me, the vice president here, to come work for him up here, he didn't even, I don't care if it was $20,000 a year, I would have come up because I just love this place so much.
¿Cuál es esta pregunta a veces es difícil de contestar para muchas personas, pero ¿cuál es la persona más importante en su vida en este momento?
En este momento, yo creo que el reencuentro de mi papá. Es bien difícil ser gay y ser latino. Bien difícil. Usted sabe que la cultura de nosotros es bien el machismo y tradicional. Y mi papá es es pentecostal. Y fue bien difícil. Muchos años sin hablar con él. Muchos años. Y ese reencuentro fue algo que pasó cuando yo estaba viviendo aquí. Fue cuando me dio el ataque de corazón que mi papá me dijo, oye, por poquito perdí a mi hijo mayor. Y en ese tiempo eso fue bien difícil para él y bien difícil para mí. Y empezamos a hablar y ahora él quiere conocer a Ohio. Él está viviendo en Puerto Rico. Mis padres son divorciados. Él quiere conocer Ohio. Empezó a hablar con mi pareja. 14 años, no ha hablado con mi pareja y empezó a hablar en Facebook, little by little, you know. So that is probably the biggest thing, the biggest impact while I was living here. La cosa más difícil es también no hablar mi idioma. Eso me molesta mucho. Me encuentro bien perdido estando en un sitio donde no hay personas que hablen mi idioma.
Claro. Diariamente.
Yeah. And you know, in Florida you have that. I mean, I lived in Little Puerto Rico. It says it all. So, I don't know, but despite all that, I love this place.
Great. ¿Qué trabajos ha tenido usted aquí en Ohio?
I've had 3. The first one was what brought me up here. I was a corporate trainer for a company here that taught companies all over Ohio about workmen's compensation and what they can do to keep themselves from workplace accidents and stuff like that. That was an awesome job. The other one was kind of funny because I got laid off when the economy tanked. And you know, when you get laid off here in Ohio, it's hard to find a job. So I got a job at Target just to try to make ends meet. And the first thing they asked me, I couldn't believe this. I put in my application, they saw where I was born and everything, and they asked me, do you have a green card? I'm like, I'm Puerto Rican. Yes, do you have a green card? Dude, Puerto Rico's been part of the United States since I can't even tell you how long. That job didn't last too long because I ended up coming here and getting a graduate assistantship and working here. But I also noticed that there are a lot of people here that don't know about Hispanics. They don't know how we learn. They don't know how we, you know, they don't know how we interact. They don't know anything about our culture. They assume everything. They assume that every Hispanic person eats tacos. Okay, and that's just so offensive to me, you know. And it's not that I have anything against Mexicans. It's that I don't want to be considered a Mexican. I'm Puerto Rican. I'm Boricua, through and through, born on the island, and it bothered me a lot. And so I've been on a campaign to teach people that we all, just like the United States have their individual subcultures, you know, the Hispanic world has their subcultures and, you know, their cultures and subcultures and even more than that. You know, not every Puerto Rican is Catholic, not every Hispanic is Catholic. And so this has been my third job, is this one here, working at the university, teaching everybody, you know, what it is to be Hispanic, what it is to have the tough culture that we have. Because I mean, even with the girls, the females, you have these females that come to the school and the parents are wondering, hey, why are you there so long? Shouldn't you be going to class and coming back home? And you know, I have to call these parents and say, no, this is actually good. They have to do the extracurricular stuff so that they can get a job. So it's not just teaching the people here, but it's teaching them as well. And so it's a distinct job. I love it. I'm a teacher at heart. I've been a teacher for a long time now. So this is just the next step for me. And hopefully I get to be vice president one day.
Yeah.
I wrote it down. So I can look at it every day.
Great. But not a fundraiser.
No, I can't. I might have to learn.
Yes. Se podría decir que este es el trabajo que más le ha gustado a este momento.
Sí, el trabajo de educación, de ser maestro, de hacer programa hispana, me encanta todo eso. Si me dan trabajo donde no puedo estar cerca de estudiantes, I'll probably quit. I have to be near students.
That's great. Si pudiera retener una de las memorias por siempre, ¿cuál sería?
Here in Ohio?
In Ohio or
I think I will never forget when, see, I dare to do stuff. When people say that I can't do it, I do it. I don't care. I got to interview our president. And he sat down and talked to me, and I knew that he was Mexican, but I wanted to know more about him before the interview, so I was looking and I saw his background, and so I used that to get closer and break the ice. And he did something that's very, 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 very Latino. He started talking to me in Spanish, which he knew I was Puerto Rican. He started talking to me in Spanish, and the first thing he asked me is about my mother. How's your mother? I was like, dude, no president does that, you know? And I saw a side of our president that nobody on this campus has seen, you know? And he may not remember me now from Adam, but I will always remember that experience that made me fall in love with this university. People may not like him, but I can't forget that he came to our student meeting for Hispanics. You know, people may not like him, but I remember that when I got my master's degree and I 4.0 and I walked on that stage, I was the only student he embraced. And so those are things that I will always remember. It's just it's something that's timeless, and it's a precious moment for me, because it's not family that's lauding you. Eso fue el presidente de nuestra universidad, y eso fue un reconocimiento que fue increíble para mí, porque para mí una persona de tal altura como él, porque él trabajaba para el presidente Bush, eso fue una experiencia que I looked to the heavens and I looked, abuelita, I made it, because she always wanted to see her grandchild get a master's degree. So, you know, it was awesome. I will never forget that.
You've mentioned that you're a gay man,
Mhm.
and you practice Santeria?
Yes, Santeria.
How has that been, that combination of it? I mean, you mentioned that
Right.
it's been difficult practicing, you know, probably the religion and
Right.
your identity. Do you think that this place has been a little more accepting of that?
They have no earthly idea. Okay, they have no earthly idea what Lukumi is, what Santeria is. They didn't understand when a student who actually practices a religion and but is not a priest like I am came to throw themselves to me, like they literally try to prostrate themselves to me, and I'm like you can't get up, you know, and they don't understand that. They don't understand the animal sacrifice that's involved. In fact, I wanted to bring a program on this campus, because there is a case in the Supreme Court about that. That went and it was passed 9-0, and is part of our religion, is accepted legally in the United States. And I tried to bring this person, a very important person, bring a very pivotal pivotal case that's being studied in all law schools. And this law school said, well, I'm not sure that we want to sponsor something like that because of the possible ramifications with PETA. I'm like, dude, it's, first of all, you're a law school, you thrive on controversy, and secondly, who cares? That's what the university is about. We study. So I've gotten pushback. I saw the microaggression a bit, like for instance, the voodoo comments I heard from administrators. It doesn't bother me because I'm a very self-assured priest. I teach that that's not, that you don't just, first of all, voodoo is a religion, it's a sister religion of ours, and you just don't insult, because there's some people that come here from West Africa that practice it. My religion and being gay, I can tell you that I practice two religions, Santeria and Catholicism, and that's normal in our religion. Catholicism because I owe everything to Jesus Christ and God. Santeria because I'm not accepted in the Catholic Church, and I am in Santeria. You can be gay and you're accepted, it doesn't matter. You can be a priest, you're accepted. And this is something I've always needed to find in my life, you know, acceptance. And so being gay and being a Santero in Ohio, right now, all I can tell you is a big old question mark. Because the day that I have to do my first matanza for my orishas, we're going to see the reaction of what happens. Even though this is kept very secretive and is done behind closed doors, it's still something that is not seen unless you go up to Cleveland, Columbus, or Cincinnati, the urban centers where there is more Hispanics that practice the religion. Especially down in Columbus, I heard there's some Cubans down there. And Cubans and Puerto Ricans predominantly are the ones that practice the religion.
So there's not a large group here?
There is not a large group. I've heard that there are some. I actually met a priest that came to play at one of the drummings here for African Night, and he lives in Kent State, and he's an African American though. He's not Hispanic, but he is in the religion, and he's an elder. And so when I saw him and I saw him playing, I was entranced. Okay. I have been accepted by the African American community in Ohio that really want to go back to their roots. What I was surprised is I haven't been accepted by the African American community that is very church-going Christian community. And so there is a dichotomy there. The Hispanic community, they don't care. They just find somebody who speaks Spanish. Welcome. We need more of us, you know. And so I don't throw my religion out there. I really don't. If I go to the Catholic Church to Mass, I won't wear all this stuff. I'll hide it. Like that's the tradition in the religion. We have to hide it from the masters because of It's an African religion brought by the Africans as slaves. So it was, everything's hidden behind the orishas. But yeah, practicing here has been okay so far. I think people see me very weird when I go walking, and like if I go walking by a cemetery, I got to do immediately a prayer, because there is a prayer for that. If I go walking by the Cuyahoga River here, I am a priest of Oshun, who owns the river. So I of course have to do pay my respects, and so people look at that, but that's okay. I'm not doing anything that they get offended by. The animal sacrifice will be very difficult here, though.
You haven't done?
I have not done that. In fact, I was supposed to when I brought my orishas in through my house up here, because I brought them up from Florida. I had to feed the door with two doves, but I didn't, only because it's what the neighbors would see, their freak. Okay, but I do have 2 orishas that are outside of my door, my front door. They're shells, conch shells, and the orisha's face is on there, it's cemented on there. Okay, and they found out that my partner's gay, and at first it was the talk of the street. Okay,
O sea, otro Puerto Rico, ¿no?
And exactly, it's like another, and I'm used to that. But then we got accepted. Okay, we were accepted because later on I found out there's another Puerto Rican family on the street. I was like, oh, I'm so happy. I met them when all our streets were covered and nobody can get out of the garages, and they were the only ones with a 4-wheeler that were going around, and so we were accepted.
What have you seen, like, because you work with Latino students?
Yes.
Right? So what have you seen that are the experiences of Latino students here on this campus? How have things changed, and what do you feel is your role in improving or changing their experiences as Latinos?
Es bien difícil para ellos, bien difícil. Y es bien difícil porque aquí no hay nadie que conozca la cultura de los hispanos, o las culturas de los hispanos. No entienden que nosotros tenemos una... You know how they say cut the umbilical cord once we don't do that in the Hispanic culture, okay? When they say cut the umbilical cord, I get offended by that. Y ellos no entienden esto aquí. No quieren aprender eso. No quieren conocer la verdad. Mira que el departamento de admisión en esta escuela, todos son blancos. Y ellos van para buscar hispanos para estar en la escuela. Ustedes no entienden. Si no tienen a alguien que pueda hablar el español, conozcan las culturas y puedan convencer la madre y el padre de esos muchachos, ellos no van a venir aquí. Tú puedes hablarle a ese muchacho hasta que the cows come home. And if the parents say no, it's no. Y ellos no entienden esto aquí. Ellos se creen que todo el mundo son lo mismo. Y convencer estas personas aquí es bien difícil. I'm going to tell you a story that made me very sad. I had a student, and I was a graduate student. I was the graduate advisor for, at the time it was called ALO, Hispanics and Latinos Organized. It's now called HOLA. He was the first president of ALO. And he came to me one day and said, John, y me lo dijo en español, me voy de esta escuela. Y yo dije, ¿por qué? ¿Qué estás pasando? I'm failing. ¿Y por qué? Why are you failing? Because they didn't give me the tools to do well here. I have to go to ESOL classes that don't count these professors don't understand me when I'm trying to tell them I don't understand something. And I go, pero yo no entiendo si tú fuiste a la escuela in Cleveland. They had me in bilingual class the entire time, teaching me in my native language, but not teaching me in English too, so that I have the tools to succeed here. So they bring him here. He gets accepted here because this used to be open enrollment. It's not anymore. He gets financial aid, and then he fails out with debt and no degree. So what does the kid do? He tells me I'm leaving because nobody helps me, and nobody at the Office of Multicultural Development helps me because nobody speaks my language, and I'm going to the Army because they'll help me become a chef, because that's all he wants to be, a chef. It broke my heart. I mean, that shouldn't happen to anybody. And so I see my role as being, because I can't be an advisor because that's against the rules, but I'm there as support. Just today, happened today. I was almost late for this. Because a student came to me with an immigration issue. And I didn't know how to answer that question. But they keep making our students cry on this campus, our Hispanic students. So I decided, you know what? Tell that advisor at the Office of International Programs that I'm coming to your meeting. And I went in there. The hell that any foreign student has to go through is awful. But when mom got a green card, sister got a green card, and she didn't. And then on top of that, they tell her that she needs to get a job by a certain date, but she can't find it anywhere, and nobody's helping her to find a job. And then she's realizing the fact that while she's carrying her heavy load, because she's she's an engineering student, that she might end up having to leave her family here. I can't bear it. It bothers the hell out of me. It shouldn't happen. No kid, I have always said this as a teacher in K through 12, no kid should ever suffer because they want to learn. Okay? And I feel the same way about the kids here. So I've become an advocate for them.
Usted pudiera decir de ese momento de orgullo, ¿a quién le agradecería a usted? Aparte del trabajo propio, ¿no?
Mi abuelita. Ella fue como mi segunda madre. Ella siempre fue mi cheerleader. Cuando yo estaba para mi bachillerato, ella conocía a mis profesores. Yo vivía con ella cerca de la Universidad de Central Florida, y ella fue y siempre iba a mis cosas, y también ella traía amigos míos para que ella le haga comida. Típica abuelita. If you yawn, you're hungry. She makes you food. Pero I know I did this for her because she would be so incredibly proud of what I become. She just, I was the apple of her eye, and I'm gonna cry right now. I was the apple of her eye, and she was just absolutely the most supporting person I have had in my entire life. I can't say that about my parents. I can't say that about a lot of people that have been in my life. But my grandmother, even dead, okay? I know she's alive, and I read the last birthday card she gave me, and that's what kept me going, no matter what. I'm going to get a 4.0, abuelita. I'm going to get a master's degree. I'm going to graduate, and it's for you. And I did. When I was graduating, I was like, abuelita, this is for you. There's a picture of me where I'm walking down the line that the student body president of the university took of me, and I look very serious. And it's because in my head I was talking to her. I said, this is for you. I did it. This is for you. And I looked good on that day too, because I had all my honor stuff on there, and I was like, I look good, and I have a right to be proud, and it's all because of my grandma. It's hands down my grandma.
¿Cuál ha sido el momento o la cosa más divertida o chistosa que le ha ocurrido a usted aquí?
This is hilarious. En 2010 había una nevada y su madre aquí. Esa fue tanto, okay? And I didn't know that the trucks push all the snow up in hills and mounds. So I parked my car, and I went walking to my GA job, and I was walking, and I thought I looked good, dressed up in winter clothes and stuff like that. And I was just walking, and I was walking on the sidewalk, and the next thing I knew, whoo, I fell 10 feet in a snowdrift.
Usted como ha tenido experiencias, ¿no? Con latinos tal vez que son de este estado y latinos inmigrantes nuevos. Si usted le tuviera que dar consejos a nuevos inmigrantes, ya sea nuevos inmigrantes de otros países o nuevos inmigrantes a Ohio, ¿qué consejos les daría?
Learn everything you can. Aprende todo lo que pueda de los Estados Unidos. Aprende la historia, aprende, I don't know how to say this in Spanish, the colloquialism, aprende todo. Porque yo todavía estoy aprendiendo. Hay cosas que personas aquí dicen, like I didn't know that pop was soda. I had no idea. In the South we say soda. You say pop, I'm like, huh? You know? Y tienes que aprender todo eso. Eso es lo más importante. Si quieres ser ciudadano, tienes que aprender la Constitución de los Estados Unidos. That is the greatest document that was ever created on the planet. You can be proud of where you're from, but be proud that you're an American.
Bueno, muchas gracias por esta entrevista. Ha sido un placer escuchar todas sus historias.
Sorry I was so long-winded.
No, está bien, está bien. Gracias por esta oportunidad.
Gracias.